And guys, we saw the Browns in the preseason game. Dustin, I never got your real thoughts about. Yeah, how did you feel about it in real time?
Well, I watched the first half live, and then the second half I was on a boat at Buckeye Lake watching the Bears score all these touchdowns.
Yeah.
On the app.
Yeah.
But I mean, what? Deshaun looked fine. Fine. You know, it looked like a professional offense for the first portion of the game he was in there. I feel like we've got weapons on the outside that are going to be fun to watch. We've got some speed, guys that can catch and know what to do with it after they've got the football in their hands. So I think that, I mean, my expectations, my thoughts on the season haven't changed based on one exhibition game. But I guess the one thing that's changed is that I think that Watson's probably going to be our week 1 starter.
So listen, Jason, we talk about it, and Todd Monken has kind of delivered his weekly itinerary. We kind of went over that last hour, but as you can see, Todd Monken said the Brown starters will get extensive action on Thursday's joint practice against the Buffalo Bills starters. Monken said that he and Bills coach Joe Brady agreed that if they get what they want out of practice, they won't play their starters in the preseason game. Now, we kind of threw this out here and kind of talked about it a little bit before. He's also said before that Deshaun Watson would play some in the third quarter, and then Shedeur Sanders would play the first half. So how does that work into the factor? Could you see a situation where both of them come in, they play well, and instead of Deshaun Watson in the third quarter, you see maybe Dillon Gabriel and then Taylor Green in the fourth quarter?
I think that's exactly how it's going to go. So you could say now, because it's still a competition,
right?
Allegedly. So you have to say Shedeur will get the first half and Deshaun will get the third quarter. But if he comes out Thursday and they get what they need done, he sees what he needs to see. I thought Deshaun had a good first quarter.
Yeah.
And it kind of went downhill from there. But if they see what they need to see and he's comfortable and he knows he's going to name him the starter, why would you play him in the third quarter? Why would you play him with backup third string offensive lineman if that's your starting quarterback? No team does that.
Is it your tell? And a lot of people are looking at it from a perspective of the tell is he said he was going to, Deshaun Watson went with the ones. A lot of people are now saying, okay, well, if you're not going to have your ones out there and Shedeur Sanders is going to play the first half, who is he going to be playing with? So if it's a competition still, you're not going to have the first team offensive line. Does that mean he did throw in the word veterans?
Yeah. Well, that's why I said yesterday, I don't think there's anything Shedeur can do to catch him at this point, because all you're going to have really is Thursday's joint practice, and you're going to have to split those reps.
Right.
So what can you do in a half of a joint practice to flip the quarterback? See what I'm saying? I just don't like. But I've thought that this decision's been made since February, March. So I just don't think, like, it is what it is. This is how they're going to go.
Think about how many more hours of live reps and practice reps Todd Monken's seen.
Yes.
Than we have.
Yes, 100%. How many more hours that they've spent with them
in
film rooms and meeting rooms? Yes.
And whatever it may be, behind the scenes stuff that we've never seen.
Yeah.
That have him obviously come to this conclusion that Deshaun Watson gives them the best chance, at least week 1, to start off the season in the best possible way that they can do.
I looked at it. What I wanted to do is I wanted to look at it from perspective. I thought Deshaun Watson played pretty well. I thought after the fumble, it kind of went downhill a little bit. He's a little skittish in the pocket, but in general, for a guy who hasn't played in 2 or 3 years, okay, all right, that looks serviceable. You could do something with that. What I want to do is give myself really actual reality check. It's a difference between doing that against the the Bears guys who didn't play starters, and then going to practice and seeing against 2 top flight corners, pass rushers, linebackers, and guys that's going to run their stuff. So I really want to get a look at both quarterbacks, because I feel like that'll be the last time I get an actual opportunity to see what it really looks like.
Yeah, it will be.
Because it doesn't look like he's going to be, maybe Isaiah Bond plays, but I don't think Concepcion or a lot of the other receivers are going to play that much if it's outside of a series. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
And they're going to start closing practices soon.
So yeah,
I think you're reading the tea leaves properly here.
Yeah, look, so you get that look, and I look at it like this: The only if you go out now, I think it could stay open if Deshaun comes out and just looks completely lost against the Bills in practice. Then, even with that being said, I think you're like, okay, he had a bad practice against somebody that's really good. Okay. Then you would need to come out. And then I think Shedeur would need to come out and, I mean, he would have to have 2 really good drives. He would have to have some touchdowns he could throw. And for me, the more I look at it is, even in the beginning, I looked at it from the perspective of, are you making plays and are you getting better? So for Shedeur, the goal is to continue to grow and to continue to get better. One thing that we know about, and we talked about before, is Deshaun Watson, he has some flaws to his game. He has not stayed healthy. So if you're Shedeur, you have to just take the opportunity that you get against the Buffalo Bills and continue to show, hey, I'm working on these things. I'm getting better at the things you want me to work on. And then I'm going to be prepared so that, when my opportunity does come, I can put my best foot forward and come in and try to make my mark on the game. But I think more than anything, the competition, like he's even said himself, is just with him. It's figuring out what you're going to do and putting your best foot forward and getting better with the reps you're going to get.
Listen, a couple things here. Number one, Todd Monken's not going to put a guy out there who's not ready to play. He's his first-time head coach. He's in his 60s. Like, the dude's trying to win right now. Like, he's not going to put a player in there who's inexperienced, that he doesn't trust. Shedeur Sanders is going to play this year, and he is going to start games for the Browns this year. He needs to do whatever it takes to get himself ready to go, because I'm not convinced that Watson is A, that good, or 2, going to be healthy. Mm-hmm. So at some point, Shedeur Sanders will play. You may see other quarterbacks play, because we know how Cleveland works. But Shedeur's got to get himself ready to go, and use this like he's still kind of like a rookie in my mind. And he was a late round pick, like still worth developing and seeing what he has. But just because he's not ready today doesn't mean that we should panic and say the guy can't ever play for the Browns. Like, he's learning a new system. He learned a new system last year. Like, a lot is coming at the young man very quickly. Yeah. And so he needs some time to process this, digest everything, and frankly, learn a little bit more.
Yeah, look, if you watch Deshaun Watson, and like we said before, Monken has, I thought it was telling, because somebody had sent me this clip. I thought it was telling because of his excitement level. When he said this, and I don't know what you thought about it, Jason, when he said, well, I understand the fans and everything, and I understand them being upset about him before, and I understand, but I was really happy that he went out there and performed, and he was having fun. And it was almost like, okay, like he knows in his mind, like, okay, there's a segment of this population that is going to handle him being, or potentially him being a starting quarterback in a different way. Do you think behind the scenes they're preparing themselves for that?
I don't think they care. Frankly, I think that they look at this as, if he goes out there and plays well, none of the rest of that stuff matters. And I do think, like, I mentioned this before, so much has happened since he's been here, and they've basically turned over the entire, at least offense. The offense is basically brand new. The offensive coaching staff is new. That a lot of the baggage that came with him sort of doesn't matter anymore. Like, can you imagine if Stefanski came out and said how awesome it was to see him, how excited he was to see him? Like, it would have had a different vibe to it, because he was part of the regime that brought him here. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But with Monken's like, I got no skin in that. Like, I had nothing to do with any of that. Yeah. So Todd has a lot more flexibility and leeway to say some things and do some things that the old regime, I don't think, had.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it just comes down to whether or not Deshaun can play anymore.
That I think that's the big thing. And I think, too, a lot of times we'll see things in a vacuum and we'll see, okay, it looked good today. But I'm just keep it real. When these live bullets get to flying, that's when you're going to see it. I think a lot of people don't remember the last time when Deshaun Watson played. I gave him, actually myself, I gave him a B for his efforts. But the reason I'm really intently watching is I'm going to see what the real upside is. Because to be honest with you, there's some things in his game that I think look good, but I also think there's some things in his game that is going to tell you whether or not how many games he's going to be able to play. Injuries play a role into it, But I still think he does need to figure out, all right, how are we going to move the ball downfield? What are we going to do in terms of making sure that we can get splash plays? And then when you do have people running after you and pass rushing different things, Dustin, can he get back to some sort of point where he looks comfortable enough to be able to play 8-9 games in a row with consistent football play?
I think that's a 100% a fair question. We don't know how he's going to hold up. I think the offensive line, at least to me, like they're going to be better than what they've had in the past, and they've got guys that throw the ball too. So like overall, like things are trending in a better direction for Deshaun from what he had the last time he was able to play at a decent level, which was 2 years ago. So listen, we'll see. Do I think he can stay healthy for 8 games? Yeah, sure. Got to protect him, and he's got to be smart about how he handles it in game and make smart business decisions and get out of bounds and all those things too, and not hold on to the ball too long. But I'm still concerned. I mean, the guy's torn his Achilles twice, right? And he's had knee injuries. He's had a shoulder. Like he's had a bunch of things that have been concerning for a quarterback that's relatively young. Like he's not that old of a guy.
He's 31. Yeah. Right. And I will say this, Jason, it's kind of funny. This is kind of ironic. Is there some if the Browns young guys come out and ball out, and you got Harold Fanning, you got Bond, you got Denzel Boston, Isaiah Bond comes along a little bit more, you had Judkins. If they ball out a little bit, it's somewhere in Atlanta, Kevin Stefanski being like, man, it looked good right now, but hey, give me one of them dudes. Where my receivers at? I mean, maybe you could have got me 2 of these dudes before. I look at it from a perspective that I just watch it at practice, and they might be good enough to mask some of the deficiencies at quarterback. And that might be the first time I'm saying that. Like the deficiencies that you may have at quarterback.
I didn't think you thought they had any deficiencies at quarterback.
What you mean?
You're the president of the Shedeur Club.
God. What you mean? He got all kind of stuff to work on. By the way, I gave him a C in the game.
You did.
I gave him a C. Now listen, look. But what I mean is, you got Denzel Boston. Now, guess what? We could throw a 50-50 pass up. You're not throwing 50-50 balls to Gage Larvadain.
No.
Hey, you can say, oh, I'm gonna hit you on you're not counting on Malachi Corley.
Correct.
Now Casey Concepcion doing that now.
I mean, that's the point I was making last year. But Kevin's got his own problems in Atlanta. That looked awful.
Woo.
But again, that's a situation he chose. He's got to figure it out. He walked into another situation without a quarterback. So he's got Drake London and Bijan Robinson. So he's doing all right down there.
Yeah, he's doing all right for himself.
But they don't have a quarterback either. That's on him.
More than anything, I will say I'm encouraged. I do think this too. I think whoever the quarterback is, I think that if you get these young dudes starting moving in the right direction, you're going to find that you can do some things to simplify the game for them.
100%.
Simplify the game for them. And the thing I'm kind of concerned about is, and to be honest with you, I didn't think the quarterbacks was the biggest issue. I think that one of the biggest issues is, one, can we run the football? Yep. And it does not look like we can right now. I don't like that. And 2, the depth on defense might be the biggest piece that we're talking about, because we still got Zadarius Smith and the rest of these guys moving around.
I mean, we haven't spent any time talking about it, and it was only one drive with the starters, but they couldn't run the ball any better than they could last year. And we talked about it all summer. Like, they addressed the offensive line. Did they really fix it?
Right.
I don't know, because for the upgrades that they made at tackle, I'm not sure that they got any better on the interior of the line.
Dustin, he came away, and I would listen to Todd Monken's press conference, and I thought he was accurate. He said, I was encouraged because with all our quarterbacks, it looked like we could throw the ball.
Right.
It looks like we can throw the football. Now, the thing that alarms me is you had 2 4th-down plays, one with Deshaun Watson, one with Shedeur Sanders, and you got stoned in the backfield when you think you should be able to come up here and get a yard or a foot, and you can't do it. And that's against, I mean, they didn't have no starters out there, especially at the first time. So that scares me a little bit. And I will give Jason, and I think Zach said the same thing. Yes, they retooled their offensive line. But just because you retooled and brought new people does not mean you're going to have a track record of saying we fixed it. And I'm a little unnerved. I'm not panicking, but I would like to see more push. I haven't seen the push this whole entire camp.
I get that, and obviously that's something that they're going to have to prove that they can do. I mean, I was happy that I at least got to see Quinshon Judkins healthy,
yes,
and play, and he'll get up to speed, and I think he'll be even better as we start to get into the regular season and ramp things up. And I also think give the guys a little bit of a break here, because it's the first preseason game. It's the first time they've really had to go out there and have a live situation. Let's see how this week goes with this competitive practice with the Buffalo Bills, and see how the coach comes out from that, because we're not going to see all that stuff, obviously. But let's see how they grade out and what the coach thinks about it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. They haven't, just because on paper you have new players, doesn't mean that you have filled the hole. You filled the void that the players left, but it doesn't mean that they've upgraded necessarily.
I'm excited a little bit too. Like I want to see. I'm anxious to see what Shedeur Sanders does in this week of practice, right? There's a lot of times when people will look, and we've all been players before, where it's like, okay, it looks a certain type way. It looks like a certain person is ahead of you. It looks like, you're reading the tea leaves. I want to see how you come out and practice and prepare. And you playing the Bills. Come out, the fans is waiting to see people. They want excitement. It's the first time we in the building. Come out and put a great week together, see some throws, and build and keep stacking. Because like you said, Dustin, you're going to see the field this year, sooner or later.
No doubt.
So let's see what you can do when you get to it.